Hello, bonjour, 大家好. So you're thinking of doing business in France? That's wonderful. This video is going to give you a better understanding of what you need to know to succeed in a country where most people come to visit. In 2018, France was the #1 tourist destination in the world with over 89 million visitors. And there's a lot to see and learn and admire about French culture. But in this video, we're going to be focusing on one specific aspect, French business culture. This video will give you the cultural agility you'll need to deal successfully with the French. Cultural agility allows an individual or an organization to perform successfully in cross-cultural situations. You don't want to make a misstep, what the French call a faux pas. Cultural agility means understanding what the French value in a business relationship, making a positive first impression, communicating effectively, and building rapport. As the relationship develops, you'll learn how to establish trust, deal with conflict, and better understand how, when, and why decisions are made. The ultimate goal is to move beyond simply making a physical transition and actually integrating the culture. There's no reason to live like a tourist, simply observing the daily lives of French people, like a fish in a fishbowl. You can swim in the aquarium. What I'm trying to say is that you can live like the French and even make friends with them. I should know. I'm an American and I've been living happily here for over 30 years. Before I introduce the intercultural framework that we'll use to understand French business culture, I'd like to answer a question that I hear almost daily. Is it okay to speak English in France? Now, the level of English here is variable. According to one study, only 39% of French people had a basic command of English. But then, that included people from all walks of life and all parts of France. The percentage is certainly higher in large cities and for people who work in service or tourist-related industries. The latest research on the level of English spoken throughout the world ranks countries according to their level of English language proficiency. Here are the top 10 European destinations. Unfortunately, France comes in 31st place worldwide. So if you're in a small shop or a local market, it's best to make an effort to speak some French, to be polite. There is an important connection between language and culture, and much of what I'm going to say about French culture is also applicable in the French-speaking parts of Luxembourg, Belgium, and Switzerland. Now, if you've ever worked with people from other countries or other cultures, you've probably already discovered that language is not the only obstacle to clear communication. A lot of misunderstandings occur to cultural differences, but for a long time, no one had been able to identify or measure the influence that culture had on behavior. Not until the late 1970s, when a Dutch social psychologist by the name of Geerte Hofstede did pioneering research on cultures and organizations. He published his findings in a work called Culture's Consequences, and he created a framework based on the statistical data he gathered from people in 40 countries. Specifically, he introduced the following 6 cultural dimensions. The Power Distance Index, which measures attitudes towards hierarchy. Individualism versus collectivism, which measures attitudes towards groups. Masculinity versus femininity, which measures attitudes towards motivation. The Uncertainty Avoidance Index, or attitudes towards risk. Long-term orientation, or attitudes towards time. And lastly, indulgence versus restraint, or attitudes towards happiness. In the coming weeks, we'll be exploring these dimensions to see how France differs from other countries. And this information will help you prepare for a smooth transition to France. And you'll probably learn a little bit about your own cultural values as well. My name's Dennis Niedringhaus. I live in France, I work in Luxembourg, and I'm the director of Wayland Coaching and Training. I train and I support business people coming to Europe, and I explain to them how doing business in each country is different. And I really look forward to sharing my insights with you in the upcoming videos. So, thanks for watching this one, and à bientôt. See you soon.